we are, and welcome to a Furiosa and Mad episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast, because
Definitely mad. I'll tell you that.
keeping things
I think you need
current,
to take it down a notch.
No,
we all went to the movies
I'm not.
in our different places. Lily made an incredible effort. Every time Lily sees a movie in the theater, it's amazing we do any
I
movies that
had
are
to
in the
stand
theater.
up in the back because my back hurt so much from sitting in the chair. It was just like a folding chair. A wooden folding chair.
Lily went in
And I was
Spain.
like, I have to go stand in the back of the theater.
I mean, Becky and I had quite the luxurious weekend because we had back-to-back nights of the movies. We went to the movies together on Saturday night and on Sunday night. Our spouses were there
Very
too,
special.
and we were in the luxurious Alamo seats. Which let's take a moment to talk about the Alamo before we talk about Furiosa.
I don't want
Because-
to. I don't want to.
No, I want to talk about the Alamo because the Alamos have gotten so much nicer.
Just like
over the
pouring
last-
salt.
Yeah,
like you
it's
taking
so
that
nice.
Himalayan salt, that pink Himalayan salt, the
The big
fancy one, and
chunky.
pouring it into my wound.
You've
my
been
theater wound.
the
Yes, I
thing I
saw
love.
Dune there, and now I
thing-
know what I'm missing.
The thing I love
So-
about the Alamo, particularly the one in Crystal City, but I think the one in Austin is similar, and that one's only gotten nicer and renovated and all that. I feel like it's made for people who love movies, but not in just like a schlocky repertory theater kind of way. Like the posters are gorgeous. The way the big theater is called the Big Show at Crystal City, and it's kind of extra decorated, and it has the Dolby Atmos sound.
It's a huge theater. I mean, it's a big difference between that one and
I
the,
have-
I mean, it's a really the only challenging part of it is that you just have waiters running back and forth the whole time, interrupting the movie when you're trying to watch it.
That's
That's
true.
what you had?
Like I
That's what
could
you had?
never watch Avatar there or Dune. Like I can't because I
watched
don't mind
Dune
watching
there.
Fury. I didn't see Dune 2 there. We saw Dune 2
With the
Yeah,
no restaurant.
Oh, you're right. At
Tyson's.
Tyson's.
Tyson's because they don't have waiters. They have Dolby Atmos but no waiters.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like when I
That
can't
was-
be
that was
interrupted,
planned
that's
out.
where I go.
Okay. And the other thing is, God bless the waiters. They're running around in the dark. But presumably, when they are taking these orders from a table that has a number showing, like one has registered the number with the order. Consistently, they always come back with 4 things and ask me which one of them is mine. And recently, my eldest daughter, our recent guest on the podcast, they just came and they served her an entire giant glass of beer the other day. Like,
What?
yeah, like another grown up in our group
they
had
think
ordered
she
it.
was
and
me?
I have no idea. They just, and she looks at us, she's laughing so hard. She goes, "What the heck is
Well,
this?"
it's
She didn't
dark in
drink
the
it.
theater. Also,
but
I didn't know you brought your kids to Furiosa.
Not Furiosa. This was another movie
Oh.
the other day. No. I would say I
No,
wanted
I
to
don't
bring
think
my
that's a
kids to
kid-friendly.
Furiosa, and it would have been a
I'm so-
terrible idea.
I'm so glad you
Mhm.
didn't.
It would have been a terrible idea. But yeah, I would say the service at Alamo is friendly, but hit or miss in terms of whether or not you even get all the things you ordered. Is that right, Beck?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a bit much for me. I mean, again, I love there. It's consistently the place I go to see movies, but when you're in the middle of a movie and a waiter just comes and stands in front of you with the ticket. You're in the middle of watching a movie and they're just like, "Hi, can you tell me which items you did and didn't get? I don't know what to
No,
bring
that's-
you."
That's
And I'm like,
annoying.
"I'm watching a movie, buddy." So there's some
Right. You'd think, and that maybe is
to be
an
had.
issue with the organization of the place, not the servers. Like they could work that out, a system for
yes,
not having to have like a whole conversation about your bill
presumably
during the climax of the movie, because they come around for the checks, like
at the climax.
right at the end of the
Well,
third act.
This
Well,
doesn't
it's funny.
seem to
That's how
make
you know the
sense to
movie.
me.
You know when you get to that point in a movie and you're like, "Oh, I really have to pee, but should I just
it
hold
almost
it? How much
over?
longer is the ending?" You know when they bring the check, you're like, "Oh, it's only 20 more minutes. I can hold it."
But this doesn't make sense at all. I feel like you should be able to order your dinner before, like you're
You
sneaking
can.
McDonald's in.
You can arrive early. You can arrive like I think up to like
a
a
half hour
early.
and then they have
you can
fun
place all
little.
your
They
orders.
always have they have the best stuff playing before the movie.
But like to
They have
time
these
it so
really
that your
hilarious
me-
shorts.
But like to time it so that your meal is delivered right as the movie's starting and you get to eat and then
15 minutes.
you pay. This seems like I don't want anything in a movie that someone has to bring me. I want a bag. I want like a duffel bag of snacks on my lap. And
That
I
you
can
brought
just-
yourself.
That I brought myself. And that
Okay.
I want popcorn Becky made me because Becky makes the best popcorn.
Becky eats
Ew.
the popcorn at Alamo.
That's
Becky
the- I
orders this
do-
thing. It's like a trough.
What?
I've never seen anything
if
this big
I'm
in my
going
life.
to Alamo, I get
Trade her to
popcorn,
your
no
own
butter.
popcorn.
No. If I go to Alamo, I get popcorn, no butter. It's perfect. If I'm going to any other theater, I do bring my own popcorn
This
because
popcorn is
I'm
really
a snob.
good.
I have problems.
I think I'm gonna pause my AMC membership because we've been going to
Oh.
Alamo so much, and I
Does
just got
Alamo
the
have a
Alamo
membership?
Yeah.
You
I got a discount on all of these tickets.
That Dolby sound, Chai. You never
I
go
mean,
back.
AMC has Dolby too. Some of their theaters. Okay,
The
we
theater
saw.
the theater I had, they just had someone in the back going so that you could pretend like you could hear the movie. It was just someone making like car sounds in the back of the theater.
Or
At
you
one
could just
point
hear the street outside.
or you know what? It was just the street because as I told Becky, you can hear the movies on the other side of the wall. At one point, I did hear like a bird, kind of, and I was like, "Oh, I guess there's surround, or it's just the park across the street."
There's just like a bird in the theater.
I don't think there were any
Like
birds
a
in
stray
Furiosa.
pigeon.
There were
Stray
no.
pigeon.
There were just dogs in that movie.
There's
There were
a stray pigeon that came into the theater.
that strikes me
It's
as
abandoned.
a pigeon flying around theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's some
Wow.
places where there's a pigeon flying around indoors.
But for older people, because I got to go with mom and dad, which was really fun, and Jose. And so for older people, I have to say the less loud movie they you know, like I don't think our dad could handle the.
But mom can't hear anything.
So
What
they
does
had
mom do?
subtitles in English. So they had subtitles in Spanish. So mom read the movie in Spanish.
She couldn't hear it.
But also I would say the difference between the IMAX sound, which is just being machine gun loud noise,
I did not
and the
enjoy
Dolby
the
sound, which
seat
sounds
moving in
really good.
I did not enjoy the seat moving of Dune, so I didn't miss that. That was too much for me.
Bro, the
Like
seats
this-
don't
this-
move. That's not in every theater. That was just in
Oh.
that particular theater.
Oof, that was a lot. But all right, so you guys liked the movie. Now I
So
know what your
okay.
tastes are. Great.
All right, so Furiosa. Well, let's just talk about it. Furiosa is a prequel to the Mad Max Fury Road, but as I was researching on the internet, all of the Mad Max movies are sort of almost like Robin Hood-esque fables about the characters of the wasteland, mostly Mad Max until Furiosa was created. And so while they are prequels and they interconnect, they're not the continuity is not as
It's like Star
Nece-
Wars. You really have to worry.
it's not as necessary, although Furiosa really does lead directly up into the opening moments of Mad Max Fury Road, and then they replayed Mad Max Fury Road during the whole end of the
I think
credits.
I think they replayed it multiple times during the movie because either they didn't have the footage or they didn't have the budget. Because
are you
there
talking
was
about?
for sure clips. That guitar guy playing that they randomly have in the 40-day war, that is 100% just footage from the other movie.
Because they need at that point they need to start like drawing stronger points of connection between
they
the
were
two
about 2.5 hours
movies.
too late. I'm just gonna say a hot take. They should have, I think they did a disservice to the movie and the franchise by trying to make them so connected up until Fury Road. I would have much more enjoyed the adventures of Furiosa and not worry about how 20 years later she becomes Charlize Theron and then eventually goes back to help these girls. Like,
I disagree.
I would have liked to see this story just as a separate prequel because they did not do a good job. They would have had to done a much better
I think they did
job
a great. I think truly the only thing was missing
connecting
is that
the two
there's probably a
stories.
scene on the cutting room floor.
Which
of
is
Char-
amazing that as long
of
as
the-
that movie was, that this is what they probably chose to
I'm
cut out.
assuming there's a scene on the cutting room floor of young Furiosa
Many.
and those women having a stronger connection where it makes sense that she would go back and save them. I bet, like, to me, that's the only thing that's missing. And
It's a big.
I
and
can
could
imagine
see
it.
that. And I can
it's
imagine
a big
it.
thing to miss. It
It is a big thing to miss, but
it was like
I
a-
think like that's it. Like it's a very simple thing that, and I actually think like this is my hot take. To me, that's a symptom of the movie being made by men where they go, oh, women care about each other. She'll just go save them without thinking that you like need to do more work to make that character point stick.
Well, that's, I
You know?
mean, that's very lazy. I also
That's what I
think that like another hot take is that look, every actor was amazing. I thought Hemsworth, everybody was great. But
Hemsworth is Dr. Dementis, or what was his name? The Great
Just
Dementis? Well, he kept evolving. The Red Dementis, the
right.
Great Dementis. I think he was especially both evil and weirdly sympathetic at times.
But I think that was the issue for me is that, oh, he is they do make him say that also he's funny. He's the only one who's funny in the movie. And so
No, some of the henchmen are funny.
Some of the henchmen
A
are
bit,
funny.
but
When that guy's just
he's
twisting
got-
his own nipples, like that's pretty funny.
yeah, but he had I think the most complex dialogue, and he had some pretty evolved like speeches, and for the way that like Furiosa doesn't talk the whole movie, and so I think he had a lot of that made him more endearing, and so I didn't feel like this. I don't know. It was anticlimactic when she finally kills him, or when she finally has her last meeting with him. I didn't feel that like rush of emotion.
I
at all.
do
You
think
need to see it in a better theater because it
well,
was
but,
like
but, but I
very
think
climax.
so. What I do think was really interesting is the movie takes place in 5 chapters that take place over
Oh my gosh, so
20
fucking
something years
slow.
of her life.
The movie's also way too slow.
The
Slow.
I thought it was very
I
cool.
really liked it. Like
It
I would
broke-
think I would rewatch it. It was
I
very
would
It was-
not. It is a
it-
full rent for me. I'm good with one time. I thought
It
it was
was-
really slow.
Oh, it was definitely a buy for me. And I think it reminded me of, if you look at the Mad Max movies, what's it called? Thunderdome, which is not a great movie, but Thunderdome almost takes place in these like different major sections. And this kind of reminded me of that, only I thought it was done much better. It was a really interesting choice to not end the movie on the same type of action as Fury Road, because there's a middle section of the movie, the stowaway section,
That's the best
and
part. I would have
and
I want to see that movie.
the stowaway section, and I feel like the section after it were very much inventive. I mean, I think George Miller, what he does, what he thinks, I don't know how he comes up with that stuff, but I always feel like I'm seeing action that I've never seen before.
Mhm.
And those, but then he really, the last section, the last act is really almost like this Shakespearean kind of dialogue, or I mean, almost really monologue, because she doesn't really say much, of Hemsworth shirtless in the desert with her deciding what she's going to do to him. And it's almost like the rest of the war and all of that is irrelevant
It's
to
very
that.
poetic. At the
I mean,
end.
and I know she doesn't have a ton of dialogue, but I thought she was
She was
incredible in
excellent.
it.
No, she was
She's
amazing.
So I mean,
I loved looking
yeah,
at her
I-
face.
Did they
I
change
think
her voice to make her sound like Charlize
I think they
Theron?
made.
I think
she
they
has a-
did at the end.
They must
At
have
the
at the end.
I think they tweaked her voice. But you want to hear
Um,
something really cool?
She
I
has
have
a
really cool
fairly
fact
deep
about the movie.
voice. Wait, hold
Have
on.
you
I just want to say that, like, Anya Taylor-Joy, up until this point, have been like, oh yeah, no, she's a great actor, love her, great. She's great, but I haven't overthought her. She doesn't take up too much space.
Long neck.
But she was so good in this. I have like a new found, much deeper respect for her and interest in seeing her in stuff now. I just thought she was like, her face was just like riveting. I don't know, like when she first appears on screen and that really, really cool transition when they transition out of the young one into her. She's so striking, and I think she does it so well.
She's amazing. I thought she was excellent, just truly phenomenal. And all the actors, the woman who plays her mom, everybody in the movie.
Who is
excellent.
from Anyone But You?
Oh, as the like lover.
As the Australian love interest.
Ah, that tracks because she seemed a little old in that movie. But she's gorgeous and a great actress. I thought she did phenomenal. Everybody was amazing. The acting was amazing. So I saw an interview with Anya Taylor-Joy where she's explaining that George Miller felt like people might have trouble seeing somebody else as Charlize Theron, right? Because we know Furiosa to be Charlize Theron, and they had to accept Anya Taylor-Joy as young Charlize Theron. And then you'd have to have a younger, because he wanted to start the movie right as when she's a child. And so now you have 3 different actors playing Furiosa, and that might be a hard jump for people. So they did a technology I don't know how they did this, but she said that basically, I guess it's CGI, where they superimposed Anya Taylor-Joy's face on top of the little girl's.
Oh, that's
But-
why
Is
they look
that why they look
But-
so
but wait.
similar?
But he had a dial where he could dial it per scene. And so the little girl starts at 35% Anya Taylor-Joy, 65% the real actor's face. And as the girl is growing up, and as I think they changed the actor of the little girl. I don't know.
No,
Maybe
it's just one.
It's just
the
her, that one
girl.
little girl. But the reason her face changes is because he's dialing up the Anya Taylor-Joy.
Oh my God, it was incredible because
as
we
the
were all
scenes
sitting
go
there
on.
going, "Oh my God, this kid looks so much like a." Oh, and that's why they had the like AI before. That's in the credits.
right.
I remember we saw
The AI.
the
Yeah.
AI.
I'm sure people
credits?
who are thinking a lot
Right.
harder about
Oh,
AI
no.
will have issues with it, but that was
Right.
pretty wild.
So I guess it's AI and not CG, but as they get to and she said that basically he dialed it up, and as until it transitions fully to her as the actor, and then it's just her face. And so that's why
That's
it's
probably why that
so-
transition between the two of them is
Isn't
so
it so
cool.
amazing.
That moment
Yeah,
is so cool.
that moment as she
She's
grows
walking.
up. And it makes you feel like it's at least Anya Taylor-Joy the whole movie, more or less.
It
and
really
it's not.
does. It really does. Like,
And
because that little girl, when you first see her on screen, you're like, well, that's weird. She looks a lot like
Right,
Anya
and
Taylor-Joy.
the eyes look a lot, and it's because 35% of her face was actually the actors. And
That's
so that was a really cool thing to like see happen in the movie. The stowaway scene is one of the best
Yeah,
action sequences
that's the
I've
best.
ever seen.
That's
And
the
she was
best
so
piece.
good in it. She sells it so well. Like you could have all that special effects, all those stunts, everything, and then if the actor doesn't sell it, the scene doesn't work so well, right? And she was
She's
just so great in it. And the introduction of the character Jack was a really cool thing that I liked.
Right, because at first I thought he was just sort of a throwaway, and then he ends up being kind of this
this
mentor, boyfriend.
right. It's like, and
But I love when he says, I'll teach you Road War. I'm like,
Right.
ooh, it's like a nice reference to Road
I'm
Warrior.
like, I want to see that movie. Stowaway and the section after, I'm like, that's the movie I want to see. I didn't, at the beginning was cute. That was fine. But that whole Gas Town, Bullet Town, Citadel War, and
Don't you wanna-
Demetrius becoming a bigger guy, like all
Dementis?
of that, whatever. I didn't need any of that. And I
Oh, it
would've
was so
more
cool
enjoyed
to see
her.
the Bullet Farm. You don't really see inside the Bullet Farm in Fury Road.
Sure, but I'm just saying that like all that took away from like the story I was happy to watch.
But I
And
but I
then
also
made the
think like
ending not pay
that's
off
what you
for
happy to
me.
watch, but it's not a love story.
No, I don't need it to be a love
And I
story.
think if
I'm saying
you get
I'm
too
saying all
involved
of that-
down that,
no,
it's
I don't need
about
it to be a love story. I'm just saying that all of that was time taken away from like the development of her maybe with those like they chose that over developing her story more to make the ending make sense. They're like, people will get it. But that to me took away from I didn't
fair point.
yeah.
Fair point.
Well, one of the things that I thought it was, and I'll speak for Vlad because Vlad and I were talking about it. Vlad liked it more than Mad Max Fury Road. He really enjoyed the
Interesting.
different segments and sort of breaking the format and not doing it in the regular format. I think that's what he said.
In the end of Fury Road, does she get to the Green Town? Does she go back to Greenland?
No, she never
goes
does.
back.
Her arm
She-
gets cut off with the map. But
and she
well, we don't know what
Fury
happens
Road,
after
Fury
Fury Road.
Road.
So we don't know what
Oh, I
happens
mean,
after
I don't
Fury Road.
remember
At the end
Fury
of
Road.
Fury Road, though, what she does is she liberates the Citadel. She goes back and she busts open all the water. She saves the women and gives them over, right? Doesn't she bring them to those other women? The sort of women that live out in the
But
wasteland.
you don't know that she gets to her green home.
Well, she
it's
goes back to the
unanswered
Citadel,
at
and
that point.
she becomes like the new ruler of the Citadel. She liberates it, and she takes over for Joe.
I don't think she's ever making another one of those movies.
No.
She did not.
No, but I mean, they could put Anya Taylor-Joy as the older version.
right,
No one's going to
right.
complain.
No one.
I mean, she spends most of the time with the makeup on anyway. But no, that movie was made long enough ago that I love
She could-
Charlize
Anya
Theron. She's
Taylor-Joy.
amazing. You could just have
She's
Anya
amazing.
Taylor-Joy play the character
Right.
if she wants to do it again. And I would be very interested in a sequel that follows after Fury Road of what Furiosa does to go back to the green area. Because she
Right.
hasn't gone back to it at that point. She's just saved the Wasteland people.
Right.
But I don't know, is he going to have an actual happy ending? One of the really cool things that happened at our theater, and I think this was just for Alamo, although I'm not sure, was Alamo has these increasingly hilarious don't use your cell phone and don't talk during the movie messages. And at the opening of ours, they had the actor Hugh Keays-Byrne and George Miller. Hugh Keays-Byrne played a Morton Joe in Fury Road, and he played the toe cutter in the original Mad Max. And he's just this kind of like loony Australian actor. And
Does
they
he
have
play
him.
Morton Joe in this?
He's dead. He died in 2020.
Oh.
So there's another actor who played him in this, but they had him like threatening the audience, like sitting with George Miller, like George Miller is sitting there, like the director
Oh,
quietly,
that's funny.
and he's like yelling at the audience, telling them that he's gonna kill you if you use your cell phone. And then they did like a little in memoriam tribute, and I think that's
Oh,
really
that's
cool that
sweet.
George Miller put him in
That
the
was not
original
in
Mad
mine.
Max and then brought him back to play a Morton Joe. I always want to know, no one's ever answered this, are Morton Joe and the toe cutter the same person? Because the toe cutter, I believe,
I'm
does
sure
not
you can go on
die.
Reddit, and there's a lot of people that have something to say about that.
It's not, I mean, yeah, I guess I could somewhere, because the toe cutter, I don't think it's interesting. The toe cutter doesn't die, and Lord Humongous, I'm pretty sure, doesn't die at the end of Road Warrior. So there's still things kind of dangling around when Morton Joe's dead, but you could bring back Lord Humongous in another Mad Max movie and have him, Furiosa, do him at the end. And you could bring back Tom Hardy as Mad Max. Right? Because the issue is Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy, right? Like they can't be on screen
Yes,
together.
they can't be in the same room together, I don't think.
What did you think of the Mad Max Easter egg in
Loved it.
where did you see him?
Did you
kind of
notice the Easter
watching-
egg?
Did you notice the Easter egg, Lily?
No.
They show him
When
hanging out by
he's
his
in
car.
He's hanging out by his car, and he sees it's when
Oh, I
she's
didn't know
being
who
brought
that
back
was.
after her arm is.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
When she gets
yeah.
put in the maggot hole.
Yeah, who is that? That's supposed to be Tom Hardy?
That's supposed to be Mad Max.
It's another actor because they don't show his face. But
Okay. And Tom Hardy's supposed to be Mel Gibson?
well, yeah, but it's a fable. Who would you rather have, Tom Hardy or Mel Gibson?
Tom Hardy. I didn't realize they were the same person, like the same character.
They are, but it's like Robin Hood.
I noticed
That's
the guy and I was like, huh, that's cool. But I didn't. Maybe mom and dad noticed.
What did you think
"Oh."
about? I think the visuals that this guy comes up with, this like
It's
some of the
beautiful.
most
The movie's
insane
beautiful.
visuals, though, like the grossness of it, the weird S&M clothing.
Like, just like, why would
My problem was the
Dem-
story.
Demi-
Everything else I
Dem-
loved.
what's his name? Dementis. Why would Dementis hook up that contraption to his own nipples? He didn't
So
need it
funny.
attached to his nipples.
Oh, the thing that spears the other guy through the head?
Yeah, like when he kills Morton Joe's brother.
I don't know. It's a great question.
Anyways, I thought this was a super cool big screen movie. I didn't like it as much as Fury Road,
to go see it.
but it did make me want to go back and watch Fury Road.
It did make me
afterwards.
really want to go back and watch Fury Road for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they make another. I hope they make another one, and I
feel
hope
like
they
they
make it with
will.
Anya Taylor-Joy because she is fabulous in this movie,
Perfect.
even though she's only in half of it. So
Well, her face is in all of it, but she herself is
Yeah,
half of it.
fair enough. Becky and I then the next night we went to see
I don't
Linklater's
even,
new
I've never even heard of this movie.
It's
What?
actually it was pretty hard to find on IMDb for a while, but it's Linklater's new movie.
I didn't know that Linklater's new movie was called Hitman.
Well, there's a lot of movies called Hitman.
Exactly.
By the way, there's a lot of movies called Hitman. I
Only
wonder
one with Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell, who is
Becky Knees.
outstanding in this movie and really shows his versatility, his leading man versatility. Like he's hilarious in this movie. He's good dramatically, and I mean he's not Gosling, but he showed sort of like
Oh, I like him way. No, it's
Don't talk about Gosling.
different. He's very different
Don't
than
even
Gosling.
bring up
well,
He's
no,
Gosling.
I
very
think
different than
I think
Gosling.
he's similar to Gosling. Now
He
that I
has-
see this here, I
But
think
he
he's
had. It's
that's
like
a
if
compliment. I think Gosling's
Gosling
like
and
one of our best movie
McConaughey
stars.
had a baby,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think
but I
he's
think,
like a
but he
Texas
also
Gosling.
had. He's
Yeah,
sure like a
I-
Texas
that's fine.
Gosling, but I do think him being anointed movie star by Tom Cruise also adds a little bit of sparkle.
It does, but show me that he can do like a half Nelson or a drive or like
Oh,
something.
I don't need him to.
But-
Then I'm saying then you can put
Tom
him
Cruise-
into Gosling
I mean, I guess he
McConaughey territory, but he's
But
not
I
like
don't-
as if the two
I
have
just
like
need
a
him-
cute baby that makes great
Charming
movies.
leading man.
Great.
But in this
That's fine.
movie, he does a lot of different characters because he has to
Characters,
play the
right.
different versions of the Hitman, and he is hilarious in it. He's hilarious in it.
Very,
This
very
movie makes me want to see him take on another
adorable.
classic Val Kilmer role because Hangman is essentially Iceman, right? To take on a classic
Right.
Val Kilmer role, and I would love to see The Saint.
Play-
The Saint
a remake
reboot.
of The Saint. I don't know if I need a remake. That would be
No,
so
just
good.
like another
Yeah.
Saint movie. It doesn't need to be a remake,
is in the lore, as
like
if
the
there's-
way Mad
Wow.
Max or James Bond, like
I
because
love that.
The Saint,
I love that, Shay.
the Saint
produce
shtick
it.
is he
Let's do
wears
it.
all the different costumes.
Yeah, that's
I just
true.
wanna
He does all
see-
the costumes.
I want to see Glenn Powell do that, and then
Well, yeah. And I have to tell you, like, Allie and I were having a ball.
But
We
Linklatter's movies are not always
loved
straightforward.
every minute of
Is
it.
this like a
Very
just like a
straightforward.
It's
it takes like a
finished?
boring right turn in the middle.
No,
I mean,
it finished, and Allie and I were like, when does the next screening start? We'll see you guys at home. We're gonna
Because
start it again.
Linklater does Dazed and Confused and the everything.
No,
Wants
this
Some,
was-
but then he does Boyhood.
this
there's
one kind of
Scanner Darkly.
this one
so there's
structurally
different-
reminded me more of School of Rock than any
Yeah.
of his other movies because there's
Oh,
like
okay.
a character who ends up in a situation through sort of not lying but circumstance.
Yeah, not
Ends
being
up very
totally-
successful, a relationship forms, then gets caught in the lie, and then has to get himself out of it. Right? Like to me, it was
It's
like,
inspired by a true story.
yeah,
Well,
the
it's
epilogue
inspired
is very
by
funny.
a real. The epilogue's very funny. It's inspired by a real guy who went undercover, was like worked for the police, working undercover, and like helped make something like 70 arrests. But
Oh,
it's
right,
not. But
okay, I see what you're
they create
saying.
a
Right.
story about this. They took
Cute.
the idea of somebody working as an
A fable, if you
undercover
will.
fake hitman. Yeah, and then
Folktale, if you will.
and then they create an entire fake story. But it's really they pay tribute to the person who inspired it.
And
That's
then
great. I can't wait to see
Adria Ajorna,
Jorn. It's
whatever. She's
Arjona.
amazing in this.
Arjona. Is her name?
She's amazing. in
Adria
this.
Arjona. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
What
in
else
this
did we
movie.
see her in?
I
She
know her
doesn't
in the
really
father
show
of
up
the, from the
till-
Father of the Bride reboot.
Yeah, she's been in
I
a lot
didn't
of
see
stuff
that,
though.
but I've
She's
seen
been
her.
in a lot of stuff.
Andor.
No, and Andor, yeah.
Irma Vep. She's in Irma Vep.
She was in True Detective
She's in Triple Frontier. That's how I know her.
and Six Underground.
Except
She's in a lot of those movies, but this one makes her more. This one's real.
raised in Mexico, born in Puerto Rico.
Well, she was fantastic, and then Retta's hilarious in the movie.
I love Retta. That's so great.
All the
I
side
haven't seen Retta
characters
in a
are great.
while. That's great.
But, Glenn Powell with that 100-watt smile,
Well,
So
I would say-
charming.
I would argue that Linklater discovered him because he's in Everybody.
He put him
Wants Some
in
and-
Everybody Wants Some.
Everybody
right?
Wants Some.
yeah, I mean,
No
he'd been in a bunch of stuff before
Is
that.
he is he from Texas?
But
Is
he's
he?
from Austin, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Or
So,
he's
yeah,
from
so he's
Texas.
He was in, like,
Yeah.
Spy Kids or something. Like, I just read an article about him. He's been in
he was in
but-
Spy Kids
I had
when he
never
was like
heard
a
of
child.
him.
when he was
Yeah,
like a child.
I had never heard of him before.
Was he
that.
one of the Spy Kids?
I read an article. I didn't look up his IMDb, which I can now, but
He was great as
I
John
would say
Glenn in Hidden
yeah,
Figures.
Hidden Figures. He was great in that. I remember him from that. Or something. What was he? He was in something as a kid.
He's adorable, and I am
Yeah.
grateful that
Spy Kids 3.
we have him.
Now the other one that led right into the preview that led right into this was for Twisters.
Oh yeah.
Ugh, please. I do not care. Didn't
Okay.
care.
You
then.
think
right.
you
I'm
don't
on the
care,
same
and then
page.
you're like, wait, 2 more hours of Glenn Powell?
Oh,
I
God.
will definitely watch it. Allie and I are like, when we're gonna get tickets for opening night. When are we going?
For the record, Glenn Powell was in Spy Kids 3 Game Over, and he played Long Fingered Boy.
Oh, God.
Spy Kids 3 Game Over is not the strongest of the Spy Kids
Mm-hmm.
series. All right. And what else have people been I mean, we had a busy weekend watching stuff. I also, other things I watched, just in terms of shoutouts and recs, I think it was playing on Roku or Freevee or one of those. I watched Rock and Roll High School, which is a 1979. The best way I could describe it, or actually other people described it in their reviews, was Grease meets Animal House, starring the Ramones.
What?
What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
It's from 1979. It's called Rock and Roll High School. I don't know why I decided to watch it, but I was like, I've always wanted to see this. And the Ramones are in like the second half of the movie, and it's just like high school kids against the authority, kind of silly movie. But the people who reviewed this movie, like, they love this movie. They're like, it's funnier than Animal House. I'm like, I enjoyed it.
What?
It's not funnier than Animal House,
Think
and
you
it's
need
not
to
better than
calm
Grease,
down.
but it definitely has both of those things in it. And there's whole stretches of the movie that are just the Ramones performing. And the sex symboling of Joey Ramone is pretty hilarious in this.
I had the pleasure of watching The Fall Guy, which was delicious. It was the way Becky feels about Glenn Powell is how I feel about Gosling. And
I love
Emily
Gosling.
Blunt.
I don't not
I'm just
love
saying that like
Gosling.
your level of Glenn Powell is my
I'm just
level
saying,
of
like,
Gosling. And
it's nice to have something shiny and new.
I'm an early adopter of Gosling. I'm just gonna say it. Shy, you still have to see Half Nelson.
I know
Just
it's
write
on
that
my list.
down.
So depressing.
I'm watching things
so
like Rock and Roll High
depressing.
School right now.
That's fine. That's fine.
Is Half
It
Nelson the one
was
where he has the doll?
no,
That's Larson, the real girl.
That's
And I
Larson,
haven't
the
seen
real
that.
girl.
Isn't he in that one too?
Yeah,
is in
he
that.
is. But I
So
Half
depressing.
Nelson's the one where he's a teacher.
Oh, isn't he a drug addict in that one?
Okay,
Is it a
don't
different
ruin the movie for Shy.
one?
Anyways, The Fall Guy was everything you dream of and like a cute action rom-com, and the action was amazing.
The action
Oh
was
my
fantastic.
God. The action was incredible. It was way above par what you expect. And I loved all the homages to the stuntmen. And it was in Blunt, please. I can watch Emily Blunt read a newspaper. It was so great. And it's nice. Those like, you know, they make so many movies now that are just like, oh, just to like make the algorithm and whatever and just get her done. And I felt like the writing, it was hilarious. The acting was great. Action was awesome. It's nice to see a fun, good movie. And I thought it was better than Furiosa, for the record. So,
Well, I
Fall
mean, I
Guy for
liked
the
it more
win.
than Furiosa. I loved that movie. I thought that
Yeah.
movie was amazing.
That movie was awesome. That I definitely will watch again. So that's my rec for this week. That's it.
Right.
I have nothing else to say.
Me?
I can,
well, we
recommend
finished-
more things.
We
if you
finished
want.
Fallout.
Oh, you
Oh, how
like
was
that?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching it. Like I think
Something that's
the second half of the season is once they like kind of, it takes a couple episodes. Like the first episode's really strong. 2 and 3, they kind of just have to set up a bunch of like the storylines in the world because there's a lot going on. And then the second half of the season really takes off and is very, very good. And I think like, you know, it's one of those, like if somehow people have not been introduced to Walton Goggins yet, this is an incredible introduction.
So-
he's so great.
Because his
He's so
character,
great.
he's playing his character in 2 different timelines, and the arc of each of those timelines is like, he's just so good. He's so good in it.
And the thing with we started watching it and then realized very quickly we could not watch it with the kids. But the opening, it's almost like a short film of young Walton Goggins characters, like the origin story of Walton Goggins' character, where he's the out of work actor who has to go do like cowboy appearances at birthday parties right before a nuclear holocaust.
Mhm.
It's pretty fantastic. I thought it was really, really beautiful.
But
done. And he's
there's
amazing.
so much more to that, to the backstory. There's so much more than that as you get through.
Oh, that's so cool.
And you're like, it actually, the way what you learn about him in the first episode in his backstory, and then where the season takes you, it's almost like there's such a massive gap in timeline between that first episode, like the moments before the nuclear war breaks out, and then everything else you're learning about his backstory. And the ending of the first season is very cool. I mean, I really do hope they make another season, because the storytelling gets pretty cool. And then there's this young guy that plays this character Maximus in it, who, again, like, we start off and I was like, is this a villain? Is this a hero? I can't really tell. Do I like this character? Do I even like this actor? And I was just like blown away by him by the end. Like, he was just phenomenal.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
check it
and
out.
it was fun. It was cool. I've never played the video game, but I think if you play the video game, like Vlad used to play it as a teenager, it was a lot of fun. It's like, I think it's much more fun if you've played the game. And if you haven't played the game, it's just
I played
like
the game a little bit. It was a
just
little.
like
It gave me anxiety, but it was cool. I want to show you guys a trailer. We don't always do this, but it'll be a trailer of a new thing. And I've been resisting even caring about this. Okay, like I've tried not to care about this. And then I was just reviewing another. I was looking at another thing. Anyways, let's watch it together. I want to know if you would be willing to watch this with
Is
me.
this the Beaver movie? I saw it
No.
advertised yesterday, and
No.
I was like,
No.
I was like, I'm not even pushing play. I don't want to see this.
No.
So I'm not gonna
I
watch it.
still
I'm
want
gonna
you
hang
guys.
out.
There's two movies I want you to see: Sasquatch
I'm not
Sunset
watching.
and the Beaver movie.
I'm not watching the Beaver movie. Sasquatch Sunset, I'll watch a trailer.
Okay. Well, but just okay. So watch this.
Last night,
Shouldn't you tell people what they
a
should
Jedi
watch?
was
full
murdered.
screen, I can't even see this.
But tell people what they're watching so they
Star
can
Wars:
go
The
watch it.
Acolyte.
Watch this.
Justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
Disney has way too much money. Like,
It just seems so scary.
scary.
What's the tone? Who is this for? It just means, I mean, like, very like
Fans?
melodramatic.
I don't know.
It's very
what is
dark.
It, even
It seems
about?
very, very
Is it-
dark.
Where is
It's
this
a-
in the timeline?
So this
Very
this
dark.
takes place
I can't-
hundreds of
the
years.
fact that I have to ask that question is like I'm already doing homework to watch.
This
the show.
takes place hundreds of years before Star Wars.
Oh,
Ugh.
that's interesting. Okay.
No,
And it's when
not.
it's the end of the High Republic, so it's when the Jedi's like dominated the universe.
I'm so happy for you. I love this for you.
No, we see. I don't know how I feel about it. Ever since they
Well,
screwed me over with the Last
mean,
Jedi,
like,
it's
I
never been the
just-
same. I
So
always
now
feel
they
like
can
anything
do
can
whatever
happen.
they want hundreds of years. It's like the Lord of the Rings prequel. They can do whatever they want. Just call it hundreds of years before.
Apparently, Yoda's alive at this point.
Okay, it's another character.
Is
for them to
he
ruin
a
for
baby
you.
Grogu?
I don't know about that.
Teenage
This ta-
Yoda? He's
This
all
takes place
spiky.
hundreds of years before, and it's essentially about the
Groot.
first time the Jedi fell.
Okay, like it's cool that they got Carrie Ann
Jeez.
Moss. That's cool.
Jeez.
But it's just call it something else and just give them lightsabers. Sure, call it Star Wars, but it's something else. It's never going to be, do you know what I mean? Just make a cool show. Don't
Is
worry
it gonna
about the
red-
prequel
I'd rather
at
see
all.
that as a movie, though. I always wanted to see, like, anyways.
I think, look, they have a gajillion billion dollars. They have a massive industry with Star Wars. They have permission to do whatever they want. So if it makes the fans happy, sure. After the Mandalorian went to the mikvah, I mean, I'm very bored by all of this stuff.
The thing I like about this, though, is that the Mandalorian and Andor, they have nothing to do with the Force, really. And to me, Star Wars does, like what sets it apart is the Force part. The
Well,
Jedi
Grogu
and
has
the
the
dark and the
Force.
light. Oh, yeah, I guess so. But like Grogu's not even in the show. Grogu's just, they forced
I don't
Grogu
think
back
I
into
finished
the
the Mandalorian. What
I
happens at the
didn't.
end of it?
I don't know. He went into that deep sea thing.
Oh, no, the Mandalorian season 3 was really
There's a
hard.
third season?
It's the one where he goes into the mikvah.
Oh, I didn't see it.
All right.
You're fine.
It was great doing this.
Wait,
Oh,
I just
sorry.
want to quick rec. Becky and I not together, but we each saw Challengers, and
Oh yeah, I saw
enjoyed it.
Challengers.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
I'm going to recommend it to everyone but Shy. Shy will not like that movie.
Because it's the tennis part you won't like, and the love story part you won't like, and
just all the characters you won't like.
Betrayal.
I'm interested in
everybody's
movie
deplorable,
tennis
so.
the way I'm interested in movie soccer. Like,
No, I just don't think
This
you're
isn't
gonna
about
like.
tennis, though. Really.
None of these characters are
No.
good people, so I just don't think you're gonna enjoy watching them for 2 hours. But I thought it was really well acted. I thought it was well made. I thought it was just a cool movie. I liked it. I'm happy I saw it.
He's a great director. So.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was great, but I don't think you'll like it, Shy.
right.
When I went with Allie to the movies, she said, "Oh, should we invite Shy?" And I go, "I don't want him to ruin my fun. He's not going to enjoy this."
All right, gang.
Just showed us proofs. Okay.
Love you guys. Talk soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Friday Night Movie, the sibling rivalry and pop culture podcast. Join the Friday Night Movie family by following @Fry Night Movie on all of the socials and visiting our website, frynightmovie.com. Our theme song is by What Does It Eat? And make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.